everyone and welcome back to My Fashion Cupboard Baby. This will be my 37 to 38 week pregnancy update. If you managed to watch my 33 to 34 and my 35 to 36 week updates, then you already know that I was getting some growth scans and was looking to be on track to be having a pretty big baby for my frame, but actually you'll find from my last video that she's back to measuring average, so I don't have any more scans, only just have a couple more midwife appointments, so I'll update you on what happened in weeks 37 and 38. So week 37 into 38 was my last week at work, which was amazing. It was really busy, so I was trying to just get everything finished up so that I could hand everything over really smoothly to the rest of my team. I didn't want to leave anything kind of open, so I was pretty busy and working fairly long hours, and I was really having bad swollen ankles and feet. So bad that I would get back to the house at night and I would really just look like I had sausages for legs with no ankles. I had cankles, I absolutely did have cankles. And I'd actually moved out of my home into my parents' home for 2 nights because we were having plaster work done in the nursery, and basically just the dust inhalation was quite dangerous, so it was recommended by my midwife to move out for a couple of days. So I did that, and whilst I was moved out, I did notice the swelling was increasing a lot. I was doing a lot of work walking to and from work and things like that as well, so I think that had a lot to do with it. So that weekend we had our second antenatal class, again 3 hours long, which is crazy. And at this one it was more about what happens after the birth, so there was a lot about skin to skin contact, breastfeeding, how to deal with a crying baby, things like that. What else? What happens with midwife visits, so how long do they come to your house for, when do they come, and what kind of jags etc. are you offered for your baby, safe sleeping habits and that sort of thing. So that was actually quite useful. I think it was quite a quiet class. I felt like I had more confidence to ask questions in the class, and the midwife was really nice, so that was great. That was another beautiful summer's day. The weather had really started to turn hot in Scotland for the first time for the year really, so I was swollen at that class. So at the end of the class, because the midwife had been so approachable, I did ask her and said that, you know, my concerns about preeclampsia and that I hadn't had any other symptoms. I didn't have blurry vision, didn't have any headaches, that sort of thing, but she did do all of her checks anyway. So she checked my blood pressure, she measured the fundal height, she checked my urine, asked me various questions and things, and everything was fine. My blood pressure was absolutely normal, within the normal range, although it was slightly higher than my normal, so slightly higher than it had been for me. So she did say to kind of keep an eye on the swelling, but I was really by that point quite convinced that everything was fine, and it was more to do with work and just getting kind of a bit stressed in that last week. So but that was really useful for her to do all of those tests, and I really appreciated that. During this week, so 37 weeks, full term, starting to feel uncomfortable now and starting to waddle because of the pelvic pressure that I mentioned in my last video. So absolutely at that point, when the midwife sort of checked my stomach and did her sort of feeling around and things, she confirmed that the baby's head was starting to engage. So that had been the pain that I'd felt when I was down in London for the weddings. I had felt a lot of pressure and pain down there, and absolutely yes, the baby's head had dropped and was engaged in my pelvis. So I was starting to get that pregnancy waddle where you actually feel like you're kind of walking with a head between your legs, although you're not quite there yet, but certainly it's an unusual feeling. Trips to the loo 4 or 5 times a night, yeah, it was getting worse and worse. I honestly can't go about 2 hours of sleep without getting up and going to the toilet, and the problem is that after I go to the toilet I'm really thirsty, so I need to drink something and then I need the toilet again. It's a bit of a never-ending circle, but there we go. So into week 38 then. When I was 38 plus 2, I had my last midwife appointment and everything was fine, blood pressure, urine, etc, etc. She did the fundal height and it came out at 39 centimetres, so again about 5 days bigger than what she was actually. Still I'm not completely sold on my due date of the 2nd of July, to be honest, because I think it said in my pregnancy journey so far video that it was changed from the 24th of June to the 2nd of July, which is a huge jump of 8 days, which seemed a little bit strange. And actually if you count back yeah, it doesn't seem possible, but yeah, so I think I'm fairly comfortable with her measuring a little bit bigger. At that point, it was confirmed that I've got a membrane sweep booked for the 3rd of July, the day after my due date, and if nothing happens before then, I will get that sweep and they'll see what happens and whether I can go into labour naturally or whether I need to be induced. So she gave me some leaflets on induction and on the membrane sweep at that point, which was quite useful. And this week I'd kind of started noticing a little bit of a difference in TMI, but bowel movements. So until this point I'd been very constipated during my entire pregnancy, which I believe is completely normal. But I was starting to notice my bowels loosening a lot in week 38, which can be a labour sign. I was also getting continuous pelvic pain and hip pain. So particularly my right hip. I've always had a problem with my right hip after sort of vigorous exercise and things, and I think just carrying all of the extra weight is really putting pressure on my hip, so I've definitely found that a challenge. I mentioned before, sore to turn over at night, yeah, really painful, a lot of groaning when I try to turn over and change position during the night, just because I think my bump's getting so big, my body's getting so heavy, my pelvis hurts so much, my hip hurts. I'm also getting a really sore back, and that concerns me because I've read about people having back labour and it just being horrendous. At the moment she's in a good position, so I don't imagine that she's going to turn and it's really going to be pressure on my back, but my back's definitely been sore, and I think it's just the general weight that I'm carrying has been a bit of a pain. During 38 weeks I had to remove my rings, so you can see that I'm wearing my rings around my neck, my wedding and my engagement rings. They do still go on, my fingers feel like sausages right now. They do still go on and they will still come off with a little bit of gentle encouragement. However, I have heard that the doctors will cut them off if you go into labour, and they can't get them off your fingers because it's dangerous for the blood flow. And I don't want to risk having my wedding ring cut, so they're now around my neck and that's where they're staying until the baby comes out. I'm also getting a lot more tired, so in week 38, that was my kind of first week of maternity leave, so towards the end of week 38 was the first kind of time I was off work, and I was definitely starting to feel like I was glad that I wasn't working anymore because I was getting tired a lot. I was actually having to start lying down in the afternoon, napping or even just resting, and actually it only took my dog about 3 days to know this new routine, and now if I say the word "Mummy wants to go for a rest," she's straight on the bed, jumping on the bed, she can't wait to go for a rest with me. So it just shows you that has absolutely become my new routine. But yeah, I'm also sleeping longer in the morning, finding it harder to get up, partly because I'm finding it harder to get to sleep at night in the first place. I'm getting a bit insomniac in the night, getting up and down to the toilet so much. By the time I get back to bed from the toilet, it takes me a little while to get over again. Sometimes, usually about 3-4 in the morning, I can lie awake for an hour and it's just very frustrating. So no wonder I'm napping in the day. I'm also getting that nesting instinct. So now that I'm home and I'm finished work, I have the chance to get the nursery in check, and I've just been really tidying the whole entire house. Like I said, I get tired more often though, so I wake up really invigorated and ready to start the day. I take the dog out in the morning, come back and have some breakfast, and then I have a good 3 hours of tidying the house, like brushing and hoovering and mopping and cleaning and dusting and polishing the house, and then I am shattered and I need a break for lunch, and then another 3 hours, then I need a nap. So that's kind of been my schedule for my days off. But certainly I've definitely got that nesting instinct, so it's been really interesting. You can probably see in the background my case is packed, so look out for a hospital bag video. I'm definitely packed and ready to go because this baby could now come any day now, which is completely exciting. That's it for my 37 to 38 week update. Stay tuned for my 39 week plus update. Hopefully it won't be plus too many weeks. I'm really hoping she's going to come around week 40 with the membrane sweep, etc. So stay tuned and I'll speak to you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.